Have you ever stopped to wonder, with so much information at our fingertips, why is it still so hard to know what's true? We scroll through endless headlines, hear conflicting opinions, and are bombarded with advice. But instead of feeling smarter, we often just feel more confused. In a world overflowing with data, how do we cut through the noise and think clearly? That's exactly what Third Millennium Thinking aims to answer. If you've ever questioned whether you're making the right decisions or struggling to separate facts from fiction, then don't go anywhere, because this book might just change the way you think. Welcome to a world where the way we think matters more than ever. In the age of AI, social media, global crises, and rapid innovation, our biggest challenges aren't just about technology or politics. They're about how we process information, how we make decisions, and how we think together. Third Millennium Thinking by Saul Perlmutter, John Campbell, and Robert MacCoun is not your average pop science or self-help book. It's a powerful guide that teaches us how to think with more clarity, empathy, and evidence in a time when the world is more complicated than ever before. The authors, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, a philosopher, and a psychologist, bring together decades of expertise to help us develop a new kind of thinking that's built for today's problems. This book isn't about thinking harder, it's about thinking smarter, thinking together, and thinking in a way that can lead us toward better choices, healthier societies, and even a more hopeful future. So in this video, we're diving deep into the key lessons of Third Millennium Thinking. Stick around, because if you've ever felt overwhelmed by uncertainty or unsure what to believe, this may be exactly the clarity you've been looking for. Let's begin by understanding what Third Millennium Thinking actually means, because this phrase is the heartbeat of the entire book. According to Perlmutter, Campbell, and MacCoun, we're no longer in an age where individual intelligence is enough. In the third millennium, this era we live in, we need to move beyond siloed thinking, reactive decision-making, and polarized beliefs. Instead, we need to develop a thinking model that blends scientific reasoning, collaborative dialogue, and ethical reflection. In simple terms, Third Millennium Thinking is a framework for thinking smarter and more socially, not just individually. It's about making decisions that are not only logically sound, but also emotionally wise and socially responsible. The authors argue that thinking in this way isn't a luxury anymore. It's a survival skill in an age of misinformation, climate change, and technological disruption. Here's a real-life example. When addressing a crisis like COVID-19, it's not enough to rely on political opinions or personal fears. Third Millennium Thinking calls for drawing on science, communicating with empathy, and acting with awareness of long-term consequences. Coming up next, we'll dive into the three key components that form the core of this kind of thinking. Don't skip it. This is where the real insight begins. So, what are the building blocks of Third Millennium Thinking? The authors outline three essential components that make up this new, elevated way of understanding the world. 1. Scientific thinking. This doesn't mean you need a lab coat or a PhD. It means using evidence-based reasoning, asking questions, testing assumptions, and being open to changing your mind. Think of it as training your brain to think like a scientist in everyday life. 2. Collaborative reasoning. No one thinks perfectly in isolation. We make better decisions when we listen, dialogue, and challenge each other's blind spots respectfully. This kind of collective intelligence is crucial in a hyper-connected world. 3. Ethical reflection. Finally, every decision affects others. Third Millennium Thinking encourages us to consider not just what works, but what's right. It means applying empathy, values, and long-term thinking to our choices. Now you might be wondering, how do we actually apply this in real life? That's what we're about to explore next. Keep watching. Here's something we don't like to admit: our brains aren't naturally built to solve 21st century problems. They're wired for survival in the wild, not for navigating climate change, global economics, or misinformation on the internet. We crave certainty, lean on mental shortcuts, and often fall into confirmation bias, favoring information that supports what we already believe. That's great if you're trying to decide where to find food in the forest, but not so great when you're evaluating political claims or debating climate policy. The authors explain that Third Millennium Thinking is all about working with these limitations, not denying them. It's about building mental habits and environments that help us slow down, question more deeply, and make better choices, even when things feel uncertain or overwhelming. Coming up next, we'll explore practical tools you can start using today to train your mind for better thinking. Don't miss this part. It's where theory becomes action. So how do we actually think better? That's the heart of Third Millennium Thinking, giving us tools to navigate complexity with clarity. One key tool the authors highlight is Bayesian thinking, a simple yet powerful method of updating our beliefs based on new evidence. Imagine treating your opinions like pencil marks, not permanent ink. As new information comes in, you adjust your viewpoint. It's not about being indecisive, it's about being intellectually honest. Another powerful strategy is structured dialogue. This involves deliberately engaging with opposing viewpoints, not to win an argument, but to sharpen your understanding. The goal isn't agreement, it's clarity. And finally, error-checking systems. Just like pilots run through checklists, thinkers can build routines to challenge their assumptions and spot blind spots early. These tools aren't just academic, they're life tools. In the next section, we'll see how applying them can reshape our worlds, one decision at a time. Stay with me. So how do we take all this Bayesian thinking, structured dialogue, and intellectual humility and apply it to the real world? The authors show us that third millennium thinking isn't just a mental exercise. It's a framework we can use to tackle society's biggest challenges. Whether it's climate change, public health crises, or political polarization, we need thinking that is flexible, evidence-based, and collaborative. Take climate change, for instance. Instead of reacting with fear or denial, third millennium thinking encourages us to gather credible data, test solutions through experimentation, and adjust policies based on results. It's about creating systems that adapt, not ones that collapse under pressure. Or look at misinformation. Rather than labeling others as ignorant, this mindset asks us to build shared understanding, starting with questions, not accusations. What if we approached all our toughest problems with this level of curiosity and discipline? In the final section, we'll explore how this way of thinking changes not just society, but us, personally. Beyond solving big societal problems, third millennium thinking also invites us to transform ourselves on a personal level. It challenges us to embrace uncertainty, stay curious, and remain open to changing our minds even when it's uncomfortable. This means recognizing our own biases and learning to question what we think we know for certain. Imagine how powerful it is to approach life not as a fixed set of answers, but as a continuous journey of learning. When we practice intellectual humility and engage in meaningful dialogue, we deepen our empathy and understanding of others. This mindset helps us navigate complexity with grace and resilience. For example, in our daily interactions, whether at work, in relationships, or in community, we can apply these principles to listen better, communicate more clearly, and collaborate more effectively. By cultivating this mental agility, we become not just better thinkers, but better humans. In the wrap-up, we'll see how adopting third millennium thinking can truly revolutionize both our world and our inner lives. One of the most powerful aspects of third millennium thinking is its practical application. This mindset encourages us to step beyond traditional frameworks and embrace complexity, uncertainty, and interconnectedness in everyday decision-making. Consider this. In today's fast-changing world, the old ways of problem-solving, linear, siloed, and rigid, simply don't cut it anymore. Take climate change as an example. It's not just an environmental issue, but a complex web of social, economic, and political factors. Third millennium thinking urges us to tackle it holistically. Instead of isolated fixes, it asks us to think about systems, feedback loops, and the unintended consequences of our actions. On a personal level, imagine Sarah, a manager in a tech company, overwhelmed by rapid industry shifts. By adopting third millennium thinking, she stopped trying to control every variable and instead focused on adapting, learning continuously, and encouraging her team to innovate. This shift allowed her team not only to survive disruption, but to thrive. The key takeaway? This way of thinking doesn't promise quick answers, but invites you to cultivate curiosity, patience, and a willingness to embrace change. Traits essential for success in our complex world. Don't stop here. Next, we'll dive into how you can start cultivating third millennium thinking in your daily life and work, with actionable steps that anyone can take. If you've made it this far, you're truly investing in your growth. Keep going, the best insights are still ahead. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives like this. We've journeyed through the heart of third millennium thinking, from understanding its core principles to exploring how it reshapes leadership, decision-making, and problem-solving in a complex world. What stands out most is this: the future belongs to those who can think beyond the old rules, who embrace uncertainty, and who collaborate across boundaries with curiosity and courage. Remember Sarah, the tech manager? Her story isn't unique. It's a glimpse of what happens when we commit to this mindset. It empowers us to navigate change with confidence, to innovate amid chaos, and to find meaning in complexity instead of fear. So here's your call to action. Start small. Reflect on one challenge you're facing right now. How can you apply third millennium thinking? Can you see beyond the surface, identify connections, and experiment with new approaches? Practice patience with yourself and others. Growth takes time. If this video inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget, the book Third Millennium Thinking is packed with even more wisdom. Check the description for the link to get your copy. Before you go, here's a question to ponder. What's one old assumption you're ready to challenge today? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's learn and grow together. Thank you for watching. Keep thinking forward.